Hello, this is Brian. Today is Wednesday, May 11th, 2022. I'm here in the Robert E. Ward Nature Preserve in West Coyote Hills in the city of Fullerton, Orange County in Southern California. And I want to provide a spotlight on plants video. And today's spotlight focuses on the coastal deerbroom or coastal deerweed, and that is this plant here, Acmispon glaber variety glaber. Acmispon glaber variety glaber is a summer deciduous or drought deciduous. In other words, it sheds its leaves during the driest parts of the year, and it's a perennial sub-shrub. In other words, mostly woody at the base and mostly herbaceous in the middle and upper parts of the plant, and it is a member of the Pea Family, the Fabaceae, and is a member of the Pea Subfamily, the Faboideae. And the evidence of that are on these pea-shaped flowers on this plant. So coastal deerbroom used to be known as Lotus scoparius variety scoparius, but has been added into the genus Acmispon, Acmispon. It is a quite common to locally very abundant plant in disturbed sites. In other words, sides of trails, areas that have been recently burnt by fire and churned up by machinery, and also in places like coastal sage scrub and on the edge of chaparral and woodlands. It likes a very sunny spot, and this is a very sunny spot right here in the West Coyote Hills. As you can see here, it grows with Eriogonum fasciculatum, which is the California buckwheat. It grows both with Eriogonum fasciculatum variety fasciculatum, the more coastal buckwheat, and the more interior buckwheat, Eriogonum fasciculatum variety foliolacum, which is the interior more inland buckwheat, and also with other coastal sage scrub like California sagebrush, Artemisia californica, bush sunflowers in the genus Diplochus, also in the genus, sometimes listed in the genus Mimulus. Grows also with sages, like this is white sage here, Salvia apiana, and with larger, much woodier shrubs like toyon, Heteromeles arbustifolia, laurel sumac, and so forth. So, my interest in this plant also deals with its very interesting nature. So, Acmispon glaber, variety glaber, is a plant with really small 3-leaflet leaves. So the leaves are divided into three small leaflets. I'm going to try to get if you look against my thumb, you can kind of see the 3 leaflets if you look against where my thumb is. Very small, very small. It's a very small leaf plant. And it's, part of the adaptation to growing in a quite dry location. A lot of these plants have small leaves on them. Less surface area means less evaporation, less transpiration. But this plant also has the ability to shed its leaves during the summer months when it's bone dry out here, and then leaf out again when the fall and winter rains commence. So then we get these, again, pea-shaped flowers. And this is one of at least 2 varieties of Acmispon glaber. This is Acmispon glaber variety glaber. And the other variety, which is more of a desert and inland variety, that's Acmispon glaber variety brevialatus, which is often referred to as the interior deerbroom or the desert deerbroom, because it grows in far inland areas and in drier desert-like locations. These 2 varieties can potentially intergrade towards the more interior locations where variety glaber is found, sometimes mixing in with the closer to the coast variety brevialatus. So it's going to be very hard to show the differences in detail on camera because the flowers are so small. Acmispon glaber, variety glaber, the plant that we're looking at right now, is known for having a pointed keel, this bottom little petal-like structure in between the other two. The one in the middle is pointier and longer on variety glaber. Variety brevialatus, it's shorter and more rounded. So that's, if you were to look very carefully at that part there on the bottom of the flower, and it's a lot better illustrated in Fred M. Roberts and Robert Allen's Wildflowers of Orange County in the Santa Ana Mountains book, which is very excellent on discussing the differences between the two, because they can integrate in the Santa Ana mountain range where they might be able to be found together. So again, this plant has, again, 3 leaflets. You see there, 3 leaflets. And the plant, being in the Pea family, has its fruits as legumes or pods. The pods are not as traditional pod shaped like a lot of other Fabaceae, but they're these small kind of, see these small little brown structures where my finger is? Those become the seed pods of Acmispon glaber. Then they have, I think, 1 to maybe a couple of seeds, maybe. I've never actually dissected one of those, and I will not pick any from here to dissect, because this is a nature preserve. So even just for picking and dissecting, I would not want to do that here. But very small seed pods. It's a very abundant floral plant here in the anywhere from late winter through late spring and early summer in the moistest locations. And then eventually this plant will turn brown and look dead, where in reality it's just waiting for the winter rains to rejuvenate it. So now I told you it was a sub-shrub, so it means it does have some woodiness at its base. Not very strongly woody, but if you look here, you can kind of see some woody stems with a brownish bark. As you see here, bark's kind of brownish, and the stems get kind of thick towards the base on older plants. This is an older plant here. This one's been around for quite a while, for several years. So it's quite interesting to see. It does have a woody base on it. And then this plant also, being in the Fabaceae, also has a specialized function for creating its own soil nutrients and also enriching the soil for the plants around it. Plants in the Fabaceae generally have nitrogen-fixing roots, and Acmispon glaber, variety glaber and variety brevialatus, no exception. So the roots have nodules that also have nitrogen-fixing, I believe, bacteria, nitrogen-fixing bacteria that will enrich the often depauperate soils in which this plant grows. Pretty sure that the soil here is probably very low in nutrients, quite shallow in profile, and Acmispon glaber is known to enrich it. So you'll see it again out in these very sunny locations. Here's another plant that's a little further along in its flower and fruit. And you'll see it's very common, quite common here in especially somewhat disturbed areas. This is where a lot of bikes come through here and people hike through here. But you'll see quite a bit of it in this area. Now, what does the name broom come from? Well, like a lot of plants, it's especially the more upright ones. These ones tend to be a little more low growing here, but a lot of them also grow quite upright, and they're broom shaped. And especially when they are dry during the summer, they look like brooms. especially when they're not weighted down by foliage. You'll see that these plants are quite broom-like in shape and profile. So, as for Acmispon glaber variety glaber, check my description for the locations in California where this plant grows. It's quite common in the low elevations, mostly below 4,000 feet in sunny hills like this. But check my description for the more comprehensive range of this plant. When you're out on the trail, keep an eye out for this plant, especially anywhere from March, April, May, sometimes June. This plant can be quite floral. Put off quite a good floral display. So this is it. Coastal Deerbroom, Acmispon glaber variety glaber. Member of the Pea family, the Fabaceae. And that will basically do that for this episode of Spotlight on Plants. I hope you found it enjoyable, entertaining, and educational, and helpful in identifying flora here in California. Thanks for watching.